Okay, hi guys. So today we're looking at relative clauses. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, what's a relative clause? Why do I need to use them? When do I need to use them? So you're looking around about in year 5, year 6 to be using them in your writing. You probably might already use them without even realizing. So this might just be you getting used to the term of what a relative clause is and being able to identify and spot it in your work or in stories or in comprehension and so forth. Okay, so let's look at what a relative clause is. Okay, all a relative clause is it gives extra information about a noun in a sentence. Okay, if you don't know what nouns are, that's something you need to go and research or have a look in the videos about what a noun is. So all it is giving extra info about a noun. So your reader has more information about that noun, okay? Now, when you use a relative clause, they must always begin with a relative pronoun. Now, if you ever do the GPS test, the grammar, punctuation, spelling test in year 6, you may be asked to spot the relative clause or spot the relative pronoun. Now, every time you add in a relative clause, you will always begin the relative clause with a relative pronoun. And these are the examples, and I would definitely take note and make notes of this slide of the types of relative pronouns. So you've got that, which, who, whose, when. Those are some of the examples. The most common ones used are who and which, okay? And those are the relative pronouns that you're probably going to use in your writing when you're embedding in your relative clauses into your work. Okay, so let's have a look at a main clause here. So a simple main clause here. I've got her brother threw away the notebook. Okay, fine, that's a great sentence, but I want to give it some extra information about the nouns. I want to add in a relative clause. Now, when you do this, you need to spot the nouns in the sentence. So you've got two options here. The first one you can give extra information about is either the brother, or you can give extra information about the notebook. Okay, so for my piece here, I'm going to pick the brother first. So I don't know, I might want to let my reader, my audience know that he's 11 years old. Okay, you might want to say that he's quite small. You might want to say who is very funny. Okay, so you want to give some extra information about that noun. Now, because it's a person, I'm going to use the relative pronoun who. I'm going to give the reader some information about his age. So I've gone for this one. Her brother, who is 11 years old, threw away the notebook. Okay, so there's my relative clause, who is 11 years old. That's the extra information about the noun brother. Now you can see I've put some commas around the relative clause because it's not essential information. My audience did not need to know his age for my story. Okay, I know you can't see my story, but they did not need to know that extra information. If your relative clause is vital and you feel like your audience needs to know this extra information, then you don't need the commas, okay? But in this case, yes, you do. A relative clause here is being used as a subordinate clause. It can't stand alone as a sentence. You can't put a capital and a full stop after who is 11 years old. It doesn't make sense on its own. So it's a type of subordinate clause. Okay, you can see who is 11 years old. You've got the relative pronoun. Remember, relative clauses always begin with a relative pronoun. Okay. Now, say you're probably thinking, oh, I didn't want Miss to give extra information about the brother. What would you do if you were to give extra information about the notebook? No worries, guys. I thought about that. Okay, so we've got here, her brother threw away the notebook. You might want to say that the notebook, which was very expensive. It's up to you what extra information you want to go for. Now, because a notebook is an object, I can't use the relative pronoun who. I have to use a different relative pronoun. So I've decided to use which, and I've gone for this relative clause here, which was full of secret information. So her brother who threw away the notebook Then I've added in my relative clause, which was full of secret information. Okay, that's given extra information about the noun notebook. And again, that relative clause is beginning with a relative pronoun. And it's as easy as that. All a relative clause is giving extra information about a noun. And again, I've put in the comma because it's not essential. I don't think in my story it wasn't essential for my audience to know that. Okay, just a reminder, it's a common misconception, which means what children normally get wrong is that children tend to mix up who and which. Okay, so remember, when you're using the relative pronoun who for your relative clause, it must be for people. Okay, and if you're using which, it must be for objects. Okay, have a go at the next slide, pause it, have a go at answering the questions, and see how you get on. Can you add some relative clauses to your sentences? And make sure, especially if you're in year 5, year 6, to add a few relative clauses in your work to up level and improve your piece. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Have a go at the next 2 challenges, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.